How do you get a seat to the table? First, do you know which is the table? Because we're always told, bring a seat to the table. Do you understand the table? So when you get that very clear that there's a table for you, and not all tables are for you, but again, vision, purpose comes in. Get the table, get to know the table. Once you get to know the table, then you start preparing yourself. How do I get a seat to that table?
And one of the challenges that we face every other day, and this is very important for us in business to learn, is how do you defend your position as a minority shareholder if you find yourself being a minority shareholder? For example, it's a real challenge on a boardroom, because you sit on a table where you have a majority shareholder who has given you, for example, 70% of the funding of the business. They look at you as a 30% funding of or equity owner of the business, and therefore, from the decision-making mechanism, they're looking at you and saying, look, we are not at the same level. I should be making the decision, and that's it. And they expect you to follow the decision that they have made. But the question is, how do you, as a minority, defend that position? Because it's already a challenge for you. How do you throw back your position?
For the ladies, we wait to be given a seat to the table. No one is going to give you a seat to the table. You have to bring the seat to the table. And when you bring the seat to the table, how do you ensure that you're relevant? Not just going there and looking beautiful and that's it. So there's a journey where you have to prepare yourself beforehand. Once you identify, okay, I want to be a part of this. So for the ones who are still young and you haven't had a chance to sit at any table, one of the things is you have to raise your hand.
One way of safeguarding your interests as a minority shareholder in a business is having the legal right. Get a legal person who understands legal documentations, because the only way to protect yourself through that challenge of total buyout is through legal documentation that protect your legal position, that protect your legal ownership of the business.
I'd like to swiftly get into the heart of the meeting and to the discussion for this evening. Now, ladies and gentlemen, leadership is really a choice. It's actually what you choose to do with it. Now, there is one quote that I love by a gentleman called Martin Luther King. And I'll paraphrase just but a bit of it. And he said that if anyone is called to be a sweeper, are we together? Who knows that quote? If anyone is called to be a street sweeper, that he should do his job so well that all the streets of heaven and the hosts of earth will stand up one day and say, herein lived a great street sweeper. Are we together? Who did his job so well, because the hosts of heaven and earth, they looked on him because of how he did his job. Are we together? And this is exactly the conversation we want to get into this evening. How do you get to become part of these conversations where decisions are being made? What do you need to do to be part of these conversations? And not only part of the conversations, but as someone who is contributing to what is happening to this conversation. So without further ado, I'd like to invite a gentleman I have the honor and privilege of working with, a guy I look to in very many ways, such as, if you don't mind.
I'm here next to you, sir.
Yes. Let's give him a big round of applause.
Thank you.
All right. And we'll get to have a bonus. We'll get to have a very interesting, a curveball. And we didn't mention this, but we want to have a very interesting take on the conversation. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to invite Carol up to join us on the stage. Let's give her a big round of applause. All right, thank you so much.
Okay.
And what we want to do, we really want to make this conversation about everyone in this room. So I'll start from the other side. Who's here ever made a presentation and probably words zikapotea? I know that's a very, or who here sang in a crowd and the words were not coming out, or you wanted to make a presentation somewhere and you almost forgot half of what you were saying. If you don't mind, by a show of hand, we are all work in progress. Yes, thank you very much. Martin, even you, wow. It happens to the best of us. Ndio, Emily Okavulu, it happens to the best of us. So we really want to open up this conversation, and I'll just start by an introduction and maybe give you an opportunity to, earn the right of our ears and tell us the amazing things that you have done, and just delve into this conversation. We'll start off with an introduction, and we would like to open it up in terms of questions and address what are those things do you really need to do to make sure that you earn your right in a table. So, ladies first, Carol.
Thank you very much. My name is Caroline Kusimba. Thank you for the opportunity to be here, and I'll tell you how I came here. I'm a vision and purpose coach. What is a vision and purpose coach? You all have visions. You're supposed to. If you don't have one, please. You all have visions, and I help you just get clarity of your vision and align it with your purpose, what it is that you have been called to. I'm also an entrepreneur. I run a commercial laundry, Swal Laundry. That was my very first business, so people knew me as a laundram, Swal Laundry. I'm a mother of 3 young adults, so some of you here are old enough to be my children. And I'm glad to be here, and this is an opportunity that I asked for, and that is how you get to be where you need to be. I asked. Thank you.
Fantastic. Let's give her a big round of applause.
Thank you, Titus and Carol. I'm happy to be with you here this evening. You're such an amazing woman. You encourage most of us when we see you there. You're very strong. You're very courageous, and we're happy to have you today. And I'm happy to have all of you here. This is a great day. My name is Charles Monyoki. I am a finance person by background, but I'm a business development. Project development by virtual practice. I do much of project development because of what I do. I do energy projects, and I've come to transition from finance to project development over the years. Some of these things you acquire by experience. I think people call me an engineer. They think I'm an engineer by virtue of what I do. But what they don't know is that I've just got an engineering by virtue of hands at work. So don't shy off from something, and I think by virtue of that I've been able to understand a lot of things in the world of engineering and in energy and in project development, and I'm glad to be here, Titus. Yeah.
Fantastic. Let's give them a big round of applause. So, as we give you a minute or so to work on your questions, because that's what we really want to deal with. Maybe just to get started, a purpose coach, a vision coach, that's big. Maybe share with us what the journey has been like for you to discover that you want to help others discover themselves, and up to where we are having this conversation. How has the journey been like for you, and what are some of the things that you have had to conquer for you to be here today?
Thank you. That's an interesting question. How we all begin, and we all have a story. I didn't start out as a vision and purpose coach. I worked for the Pride of Africa, that is Kenya Airways, for 10 years. And while I was in Kenya Airways, I started off as the check-in staff. You know, when you're traveling, the people who help you with your baggage. But before I knew it, I rose quickly through the ranks. Today, when I look back, I believe there is God's favor, but there is because how I speak. That earned me a favor, because once I was put in an office where I had to do an announcement, and because of the way I made the announcement, I caught the attention of several people. However, I left when I worked for Kenya Airways for 12 years. Then I left to start my own laundry business. Why I left is because Kenya Airways was experiencing the turbulence, and there was an option: you either stay or you wait to be evicted. I did not want to wait to be evicted, and I felt I'd done my 12 years actually, and also because I didn't raise my youngest child because of the working hours. So I felt I needed to be more at home. So I ventured into the laundry space. How I ventured into it again is because I got an opportunity to travel while I was working. And because I didn't have the business knowledge I have today, I copy and pasted an idea I saw in the US, laundromats, the coin laundry. So I started off one at USIU. However, the students felt, no, you wash, we come and pick. They don't have time to come and do the laundry. And I'd already invested in equipment and everything. So I had to quickly pivot. I learned pivoting. I didn't wait for COVID. I had to quickly pivot and change because I had invested heavily, and I invested all my savings from Kenya Airways. Yote. Again, not a very good decision, but I did it. So while I was in the laundry space, I got several young people. Remember, I started with the students. And then I got several young people also coming to me to ask, how do you start a laundry business? And little did I know what I was doing was coaching. So fast forward, COVID hits. Because my business, when I pivoted the business, I went into full commercial laundry. So my clientele was in the hospitality space, and with COVID, 90% of the clients were closed. I have debts, I have loans, I have, you have all this. What do you do? That's when my first encounter with a business coach who actually used to see me online. So again, your footprints on social media, what you're posting and everything. He came and told me, why don't you become a coach? Because of what it is I've seen you doing. So that's how I transitioned into a business coach, because I was helping young people start up their own laundries. And what I did is I show you everything and not at a fee. So when I was introduced to a coach and he told me you can charge, during COVID time, everything was changing. So that's when I started charging. However, Vision and Purpose Coach came when I hit rock bottom. Life happens. And 3 years ago, I hit rock bottom, lost everything. And how do you pick up the pieces? When I just started questioning, I was once doing very well. Kepinski was my client for 2 years. So I was once doing very well. Then suddenly, I'm losing everything. So in that moment when you're questioning, where did I lose it? What happened? The word vision came into play. If you're a believer, that's the time you seek God, But we shouldn't wait when we hit rock bottom. However, mine happened then. And the word vision kept coming. And when I started researching and understanding, okay, what's my vision? What's my purpose? That's when I realized this is what I've been called to do. And I had been doing it. It's just that I didn't know that this is what I was doing. Because even when I was in Kenya Airways, at some point I was given a team to manage, and it was a team that was not doing very well. I was in operations department, making things happen, the flights, the passengers and everything. And I was given a team of 60. And this shift was doing badly. And I was given that team. And how we managed to rise up from being the bottom to the top is, I realized it's the giftings and the talents that I had, how to shift people around and everything. So that's how I became a vision and purpose coach, and that's been my journey.
Fantastic. Wow. A big round of applause.
Let me just add, as a vision and purpose coach, I'll be proud to say I'm the only one in Kenya. We don't have them here, because even when I was looking for certification, because imposter syndrome hit, you're teaching people about vision and purpose and all that. Yeah. So I had to look out for where do I get certification? And there was only one institution in London, Dr. Oleg Konovalov, who was giving certification. So when I reached out and I was told the cost, I was scared. But again, I reached out, I asked, and he told me the cost and everything. But I also asked him, have you certified a black woman? For me, it was important. Or is it a Muzungu thing? And the name of the person he gave me apparently was someone I was following on Instagram. Again, what are you doing on social media, right? So it was a lady I was following on Instagram, but her programs were very expensive at that particular time. I couldn't afford. And that's what gave me the confidence to sign up. It costed a lot, but I got into a negotiation and I paid it slowly. I'm still paying. Because when I tell you the figure, coaching is being embraced.
Yes.
They're not cheap,
but
it's important to invest in a coach.
That's right. Wow.
Fantastic. Wow. Another big round of applause. With vision, with purpose, you can actually get to the seat. And we'll get right to that in a minute or so. But Sir Charles, your journey, we've had bits and pieces of it throughout the months that we've been here. But why are we having this conversation today? What has led us to today?
Thank you, Titus. I think when you are born and when you get to the what I may call cream of your life is when you want to start earning for yourself. The pride of working is seeing cash flowing into your pocket. And most of the times we get to a place where you are either in business or you're employed. At times we've seen the trajectory of you getting into business is you are fast to work, then maybe you are fired, and when you're fired is when you start thinking about a business. And at times it may not work like that, right? You may find yourself into business because, like my brother here, Alcam, you've not gotten a job. And the state where we are in right now in our country is you don't easily get a job. And that's the truth of the matter. So the question is, how do you position yourself even while you are a student or while you're trying to find a path for yourself? How do you begin to acquire knowledge that would allow you sit at that place once you have your own business? Because sooner than later, when you realize that you made applications, like I remember those years when I was looking for a job, I did finance, I did CP, and I did BCom. But I used to see so many adverts in the newspapers and those times in the Daily Nation. And I applied so many of them, and every time I get a regret. And I thought, wait a minute, all these jobs I'm applying, who are these guys being taken? And I think it's a question of everyone else in the room. There are so many jobs you apply for, but you don't see someone giving you a response and saying, look, there's a regret here, or come for interview. I think companies encourage you to be in that space. I wish the HR in the room could just call people and tell them, you know what, guys, come for it. But they're not passing, but it's just there to encourage somebody. I think we need someone just to call you for interview, and then you be told, you know what, you did very well, but we have this area that you need to improve, and therefore you're not getting a job. Because you need to give these people who apply job status a feedback to understand why they don't get these jobs or why they don't get called for this job. But to answer your question, Titus, when we talk about boardroom matters, we talk about boardroom matters because you have got into a business, you are meeting partners, you are making crucial decisions, and you need to be informed on how to make those decisions and how you need to make your presence felt. Because boardrooms, and I will answer those, and I know you're going to be asking those questions, boardroom is where you deal with the serious matters of a company. And you need to be prepared for those serious matters in the company.
Fantastic. Let's give him a big round of applause. Now, I don't know about you guys, but we've already started getting into the heart of wisdom, and we are having ourselves a really good time. We'll get through a few questions as we give you time to maybe get ready yours. Now, you brought out a very interesting take on this in terms of how do you position yourself. And I want to pick it right up from there, and maybe we'll start with you, Carol. I read a book by a gentleman called Malcolm Gladwell, I think. Who has heard of that gentleman? And he talks about 10,000 hours doing something. So my question is, do you need to practice something for 10,000 hours for you to get into part of these conversations? And the question is, how do you actually get a seat at the table? Where do you start?
Good question. How do you get a seat to the table? First, do you know which is the table? Because we're always told, bring a seat to the table. Do you understand the table? So when you get that very clear that there's a table for you, and not all tables are for you, but again, vision, purpose comes in. Get the table, get to know the table. Once you get to know the table, then you start preparing yourself. How do I get a seat to that table? And the reason why I honestly asked to be part of this conversation is for the ladies. We wait to be given a seat to the table. No one is going to give you a seat to the table. You have to bring the seat to the table. And when you bring the seat to the table, how do you ensure that you're relevant? Not just going there and looking beautiful and that's it. So there's a journey where you have to prepare yourself beforehand. Once you identify, okay, I want to be a part of this. So for the ones who are still young and you haven't had a chance to sit at any table, one of the things is you have to raise your hand. How did I get here today? I saw the flyer. While I was out of the country, I just came back from Morocco. And I was facilitating a Visionary African Women's Summit. And I asked. I looked at it. I looked at the vision of the whole summit. I've been a part of them. So the same way you're part of all this. And you know what's going on at Brookwise. You're always coming for these events. You get to hear something. So if something is resonating with you and you want to be a part of it, you start preparing yourself. So when I saw the flyer, I wrote to you. I was in Morocco that time and I said, I want to be a part of this and I'd like to speak for the women. So ladies and even young people, no one will give you the seat automatically. You have to raise your hand that you want to be a part of it. Yeah. So I think for a start, that's what I would say, because your visibility and intentionality is important. So you might look all beautiful, you have your degrees, you have your PhDs and everything, but if you don't raise your hand, it won't be given to you. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Charles, over to you.
Yeah, thanks, Titus. I think let me look at this in two ways. Number one, there's a table you can find yourself in by virtue of being in business. And two, there's a table you can find yourself being by virtue of employment and where you work. Let me address it on both fronts because I've been on both ends. And first of all, the first question should be, how do you find yourself entering that employment you've been trusting God for? You've been trusting God. You think your skills are the best. You think you're very well equipped to do what you need to do. But how do you cross that line? So how do you present yourself? Because again, the first question that you should be answering yourself is, if we need to invite you to our business, into our company to come and work with us, what is that value proposition you bring to us in the business? How is your CV looking like? Because sometimes you send a CV and the guys on the other side of the table look at the CV and they're like, oh, this guy is not serious. And this world of competition, where the CVs that a HR office is receiving in a day could be in 1,000 in a day or 2,000. There must be something good in you putting your CV that when it appears on the table, it is very, very attractive. And this guy says, let's call A and B. Let's go so and so and not so and so. So number one, how do you present yourself? Number two, when they call you for the interview, the question is, how do you, number one, in terms of timekeeping, the interview is 10:30, you come at 11 a.m. You're already late, you're already disqualified, right? Even before you sit on the table, Carol, you are coming late. Look, we call for this meeting and say, even today, we say, Brookwise, we start at 6 p.m. and we are here coming around 7 p.m. And you expect us to come and wait for you to come. So, number one, how does your CV look like? Number two, the time you've been told to come for the interview, do you get there late? because the moment you get late, you are disqualified, number 2. Then number 3, once you get into the room, number 1, how are you dressed? Simple things disqualify us from being on the table. How are you dressed? Before you came from home, did you look at your hair? Sometimes, like for us men, we forget that we have not cut our hair. Today I was looking at Titus, I was telling him he has groomed well. Titus is looking good today. Look at him, his beard is well done. The guy is looking sharp. I was telling him, Titus, you're looking better than me, but it's okay. I'm comfortable with he's looking very good. That means he took time to groom himself. How is your hair looking like before you present yourself to the table? How are your shoes looking like? Small things that they matter a lot. Because people who want to talk to you, they want to ensure that you are looking good like them. How is your smell? Did you put some cologne? You don't need to buy a cologne for 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. If you're a student, you don't have that. But you can buy one for 100 bob. There are guys in town here, you can just go and, ila kupima, and you know all that. You just start your level at this time. So you want to be at the table, and you want to be at the table looking good and smelling nice. So what do? Cut your clothes according to what? Due size. Go and tell these guys, I need one for what? Get me Giorgio Armani for 150, for 200 bob. Then smell nice. Brush your teeth. Right? You don't want to be there with the interviewer and the guy's like, oh my God, when are we going to finish this interview? Because you're not smelling good. So brush your teeth. Small things that they matter. Because I imagine you might be the best, but the guys go like, this guy walked in, but the smell in the room changed, right? And you lose your job because of that. So small things that are important and that may throw you from sitting on the table, Titus, and we need to be cautious about those small things. Then when you are welcome on the room, how do you, for example, how do you sit on the table? If you are a lady, some small things we don't take we take for granted, but how do you sit on the table? At times I've seen ladies just walk in the room, and the way they sit, you wonder, is this a lady or a man? Understand your gender, right? If you are a guy, sit nicely on the seat. If you are a lady, I was watching what Carol did when she came to sit on this seat. She was very cautious enough to know I'm a lady. So the way you put your legs, you cross your legs together, it's important. I just don't want to mention some things, but when you are a woman and you sit in front of people, your dress is short, be cautious enough that people may be seeing some things you don't want them to see. So what you do, cross your legs nicely. So a few things that we need to be cautious of when we are presented or we ask for an opportunity so that we can sit on the table. But Titus, I don't want to go overboard.
Yes.
I think, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, wisdom is being poured here, and I hope you are getting it not only in bite sizes, but capturing every moment of it. Now, and thank you so much for that, Sir Charles. And also in the conversation that we started, I love what part of scripture says, that your skill will get you before
great men.
Before great men. We know that part of scripture?
Yeah.
Do we read our Bibles? All right. I'm still waiting for questions as I ask some of mine. Now, we've gotten to this seat. We've been given this seat at the table, and our skill has gotten us there. Part of, and I'm in HR, so I say this from experience, we have a huge challenge in staying power. How do we make sure that you're not only getting a seat at the table, but you're earning it and you're staying there? You're driving impact and value there. And we'll start with you, Carol, and I'll let you know why I start with you. Also because of, and I'll be very selfish, I am raising a little daughter somewhere. And yes, you can clap. Thank you. And every time I get home and she calls me daddy, daddy, I see what I want her to be like when she grows up. You see? And I don't want her to get to this table, but how will she make sure that she stays at that table, that she earns her right in staying? How do we stay at that table and drive impact?
Thank you. It's like you read my notes. Well, one thing I wrote down was get intensive with learning. So for you young people, after you're done with campus, what other cause have you taken up? Because I think from HR perspective, if I also remember during my time in Kenya Airways, I'll sit in interview panels and you'll see someone with a very strong CV coming to apply for a specific job, but it's only the degree they have. And outside the degree, nothing else. To be at that table, there's soft skills you have to learn. There are other skills you have to learn, and especially with this generation of AI. If you don't embrace technology and innovation, because what are you bringing to the table? So you have to upskill. Once you're done with college, upskill. If you look at the boardroom that you intend to be, do you have the knowledge of that sector? So as an entrepreneur, I've sat in 2 boards, the women in business board. For the ladies, you all know that one. And there's a foundation where Saidia Dada, I still sit on their board. So do you have information and knowledge around that area? And there's some boards maybe you want to be a part of, but you don't have the knowledge. Nothing stops you from getting a short course. And nowadays, there are so many online courses. I've done a course on women and leadership online for free. You just have to open your eyes and know how to look, or you'll find that whatever you need to pay is very little. So when I did that course on women and leadership, I'm able to sit in conversations that discuss about women, about leadership. So upskilling is one of the things. And like I said, no one will tell you which direction you should go. Take initiative and ask. If you don't know, ask. You have a lot of mentors. For those who come here, there are different topics that are always being discussed. So in your own area of study or of business, so for those who are in business, what skill have you taken up lately that will push you forward or will make you stand out, that when you're invited to some discussions, you have the information and you have to leverage on that. The entrepreneur who talked about, who gave the presentation here, he's a creative. But when I looked at, I'm not a numbers person, but I was able to understand the numbers. And I was like, from a creative person, this is quite good. Meaning he has taken time to learn and understand numbers. Because if he's going to pitch for an idea, at the end of the day, investors are interested in what? Numbers. So understand the area that you want to get into.
Fantastic, and thank you so much. And if you're looking for areas of training, Caro is indeed consulting. Her rate card is not cheap, but I'm sure we can definitely come to a consensus and an agreement. Thank you so much for that, Caro. Staying power. How do you earn your right and stay at the table and continue delivering impact, Sir Charles?
Wow. Titus, I like your way of putting things across. Staying power. You know, nobody wants to stay in employment forever, right? And I think there are those part of us who want to be in employment to get experience or to get to understand how things are done. But before you get to that point where you say, it's enough for me, I need to get out to the marketplace and try to see how I can do something for myself, you need also to have earned a little bit of skill by virtue of being relational with people. One of the things that allows people to learn quickly is having that interpersonal skills. Because interpersonal skills gives you the room to interact with different people at different times. And it also allows people to access you. You know, accessibility. There are people who are easily accessible, which makes other people feel comfortable to be with, right? If you are that person who will want to understand about how was your day like, how was your work like, how was yesterday, I saw you being called by MD yesterday, how was that conversation like, was it something that that you were done, or just getting to understand other people's things and just being caring, and that allows you to stay longer because people want to have you around. And bosses are looking for people they can talk to, people they can relate to. And I think in terms of interpersonal skills, it also goes with the language, how you speak with people. Because again, our language and how we speak with people also determines how people accept us. There are people who have bad choice of words, right? I know you've been in offices where when someone speaks, you wonder, oh boss, huyu alitolewa wapi? Unajua, their language is wandering. It needs to be refined. So you need to refine your language. You need to refine the tone of your voice, the tone of your communication. There are people who cannot talk in a very plain language. Words have to go to Kitui and go to Mombasa and go to Kisii, and before these people know you're communicating as something that is very subtle. Do not raise your voice or your tone where you're not supposed to, right? Know how to be calm. Even if you're provoked, just there's a way you can handle your emotions. One of the things that some people find hard in an office to deal with people is people do not know how to handle and compose themselves. Your emotions, you're here up, you're down, and I've seen in offices where people will not deal with somebody because they saw, hey, that person is too emotional, right? They cannot control themselves. So I feel in you being a person that is seeking to have interpersonal skills, part of that is about handling your emotions and knowing how to deal with your emotions. The other thing that I think is important is being diligent at what you do. I like the scripture quoted, Titus says, have you seen a man that is diligent at his work? He will not stand before mean people, but he shall stand before kings. Diligence is one of the things that the world is lacking. Diligence, a man who is diligent in what they do. You are consistently consistent. When you're given a task, we know you'll do that task to the end. We have a bunch of people who are growing right now, and it's sadly so because some of the guys who are coming up in the current in this current seasons is not being very consistent in what you've been told to do. You touch something today, you don't finish. You touch this, you don't finish. You touch that, you don't finish. When the boss comes and asks you a question, can I see, did you do what I asked you to do? Then you give the boss you work, and he looks at it and wonders, honestly speaking, for how many hours did you do this? 2 hours. And he looks at it and wonders, does this warrant 2 hours? We are growing a kind of culture that is not consistent enough to be called diligent. For you to be called diligent, you must be at something and perfect on it. You must be at something and we must see results. And those results should not be questionable. It should be excellent, number one. If it's an email, you're writing an email, check the language of your email, right? Go back on your email and check the spelling mistakes. Check the errors on the email. Let the English flow. I know we are in a world of Sheng. I don't know even what it's Sheng. Nowadays, I hear it's different. We know I'm from this generation of Sheng. Nowadays, it's even different. But the thing is this, emails are official communication tools in an office. If you're writing an email to your boss, then your boss is expecting you to do what? To have a very formal language. Therefore, and we have tools right now. Nowadays, you have so many tools you can use to check your language. Get back there on your email. Let the tool check for your email. If you feel you're not good enough, get something like Quillion. Quillion will give you a very good English. Get back there. Get Quillion, check, type what you want, put your idea there, then let it drive for you, put for you the language you want, copy it, paste it, and send it to your boss. He will not know, right? But save your life by writing the right language in your emails, because that will save your job. And just so that we can also move forward on other things, Titus. The other thing that is important is sharpen your skills. And I know Carol touched on that. Sharpen your skills. If you came into the employment by virtue of being a BCom, add something to it, right? If you came to the employment because of IT, add something, add an AI to it, increase your level of skill as you grow. Because job market is very dynamic. What it was yesterday is not what it is today. Therefore, you see a level of growth and a growth curve in what you do on every other day. Therefore, sharpen your tool, keep on learning. Do not stop learning. Do not stop learning. Keep on learning every other day, so we can also keep on seeing some new things coming up. And when challenge comes in the marketplace, you stand out. You must be looking for opportunities for you to stand out every other day.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for that. And allow me to close off on this as we welcome questions from the audience. And I'll start with you, Sir Charles. You brought in an aspect about control and handling your emotions. So how do you deal with challenges? At the table, there will be headwinds, there will be challenges. People are not for your interests, they are not for your good, they don't want you to succeed. So how do you deal with challenges?
Wow, that's a broad one, Titus. But I will imagine most of the challenges that come from an employment setup. Let me put it in this way. Depending on where you sit, you will face challenges equal to your task. Right? If you're sitting at the board level, the challenges that you face at a board level are board matters. And I will tell you, like, for example, where sometimes I find myself sitting is a board level. The matters we deal at board level are mighty. You are discussing issues about ownership, driving a company to profitability. You are discussing issues around how do you save, how do you ensure that business is having what you call a going concern. It's gonna be here the next 10 years. You are discussing on returns on investment. You are discussing issues about internal rate of return. You want to know that the business you're doing is giving returns over the period of time. And therefore that brings a different challenges. Like, for example, when you are sourcing for capital, or you're discussing a board, like yesterday with some board discussions yesterday on a certain investment you're doing, the key discussion point was on how your partners and yourself have to relate on a shareholders level. How do you govern yourself as a shareholder? And one of the challenges that we face every other day, and this is very important for us in business to learn, is how do you defend your position as a minority shareholder if you find yourself being a minority shareholder? For example, it's a real challenge on a boardroom, because you sit on a table where you have a majority shareholder who has given you, for example, 70% of the funding of the business. They look at you as a 30% funding of or equity owner of the business, and therefore from the decision-making mechanism, they're looking at you and say, look, we are not at the same level. I should be making the decision, and that's it. And they expect you to follow the decision that they have made. But the question is, how do you as a minority defend that position, because it's already a challenge for you? How do you throw back your position? And I like Eric, he's looking for money right now, but sooner than later he'll get the money, and you told Eric, the money we're giving you is $850,000, and for this $850,000 we take 90% of your business and you have 10% of your business. And at that time we go and start having emotions. How can I build this business? And suddenly you have come and brought in the money. I've been working on the idea for the last 2 years, and you're giving me 10%. Challenge number one, right? How do you approach that? And how do you, number one, safeguard your minority shareholder as an entrepreneur? So I'll answer that question, Titus, on this front. Number one, understand your position as a minority shareholder. What are you supposed to? How are you supposed to safeguard yourself? Number one. And I would say one way of safeguarding your interests as a minority shareholder in a business is having the legal right. Get a legal person who understands legal documentations, because the only way to protect yourself through that challenge of total buyout is through legal documentation that protect your legal position, that protect your legal ownership of the business. Number two, and I would say this, also have something between your head. Learn. Understand some of the clauses that come with such kind of business. So when you're going to borrow money, when you're going to ask people to do funding for you, also have a basic understanding of what that means. So when you sit on the table, you just don't have an empty head. When you have an empty head, people eat you for lunch. Right? Because in business, let me put it like this, Titus. Boardrooms are not bedrooms. And that's something we forget. You don't get yourself to boardroom because you look beautiful or because you look handsome. You get to boardroom because you have a serious business matter that demands a serious business meeting. And that's why you sit on a boardroom. And the decisions that are made on a boardroom are not one that are done through emotions. You don't make decisions on boardroom through emotions. And one of my learning lesson I learned painfully so was that I thought people should understand me. And that's where you find ourselves. We think people should understand you. Some of the guys who sit next to you on a boardroom or on that table when you're asking for money will not want to understand you, not a thing. But they want to understand your business, but not titles. So the thing is this: boardrooms are not easy places to go and smile. Smiles don't work on boardrooms. Because the matters on the table are of business in nature, and business returns are the ones that talk on boardroom. So understand, get people to teach you a few things before you get to boardroom matters. Let people tell you, if you're doing business, get a financial modeler, someone who's done financial modeling. Let them translate for you how that business looks like in terms of returns. When you sit there talking about returns, you don't talk about how nice you are, how you dress. Yes, you dress is nice, yes, but now we've started discussing business matters, right? And business matters are business matters. So you have to present yourself as someone who's knowledgeable, who is not emotional. Emotions don't make decisions on a boardroom.
Fantastic. Emotions don't make decisions on a boardroom. Let's give him a big round of applause. And to bring this home, Carol, how do you stay grounded? How do you cover the headwinds? How do you make sure that you deal with the challenges and you emerge out strong?
Thank you. How do you stay grounded? I think the bottom line is your character. Who are you when we remove everything else? Do you say and do what it is that you say you do? Because as it says, the boardroom is not a bedroom. Decisions have to be made. Right now, and just allow me to make reference to what is going on currently. In our country, tough decisions have to be made by different leaders in the different spaces. We might not like some of the decisions that they make, but they have to make those decisions. But you'll find when some decisions are made because of the character of that particular person, even if that decision does not favor you, you're happy with the decision because you know their character is not questionable. So one of the things you really need to look into is your character, and character cannot be taught. It can't. Skills you can learn, but character, it cannot be taught. So that is something you need to work on. If your character is questionable, you still have an opportunity to work on it. And I'll also just add that if you're looking to go into boardrooms, think about leadership. What kind of a leader are you? What kind of people do you want to lead, and how are you going to lead them? There's what's going on right now about emotions, emotional intelligence. Please, that is something you all need to learn. Women, we can be very emotional. Mr. Kinoti is my very good friend, and sometimes we really argue about some things, and I know sometimes I make some decisions emotionally, but emotional intelligence is very important. In closing, today I happen to be sitting, not a part of the meeting, but I was waiting for someone to finalize their meeting, and the project that was being discussed is worth billions of Kenya shillings, involving different countries, and it was Zoom meeting. There were 5 men from different countries and 1 lady.
Wow.
And she's the one calling the shots. After the meeting, I asked, how old is that girl? She's under 30, but the confidence she had, and she knew her staff. And even after the meeting, because she remained on the call with the person I was waiting for, and she kept asking about the other people who are want to invest in a project for our country. So for me, I admire the courage. So you need to have courage, the boldness, especially ladies. You need the boldness to ask. I asked. A challenge was thrown at me just before I left for Morocco. I knew I was going to moderate 2 panels, but I think 2 days before I left, they called me and told me I'm the one to to be an MC of the cocktail event. And the cocktail event was being attended by the First Lady. And I panicked. First and foremost, I have never MC'd. I know I can speak, but MCing is another thing altogether. And by the time I'm being told all this, the person organizing the event is already in Morocco, and she's giving me a rundown. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. So again, to be able to stay grounded, who are your support system? Who is your support system? Who is that person who is on your speed dial, if I may say so, that will always tell you, because you cannot do it on your own. So you need to invest the young people, invest in coaches, invest in mentors, like what Brookwise is doing. And by investing, sometimes you need to pay money to be part of a mentorship program. Don't expect everything to be given to you for free. So I think that will be my closing point.
All right, let's give Carol a big round of applause. And as I stand up, invest in a mentor. How are you learning? How are you becoming a better version of yourself? So maybe just to open up with a number of questions to my great panel and the team in front, so that we can get some questions. Oh yes, I see some hands. Please tell us your name as you ask your question.
Hello guys, I am Brian Waititu. I have a couple of questions to the panel. Okay, for starters is what happens if you come an hour earlier? Somebody mentioned like if you come late, there's something about it. So what happens if you come an hour earlier?
It's okay to be early. In fact, to be early, an hour earlier, it tells the organizers or the planners or whoever it is that you are interested and you respect them. It's better than coming in late. And it also gives you time to go through the space. I like going into spaces early. Like for the Morocco, I requested to be picked up early, but they said no, because I wanted to get a feel of the room. Like I said, I have never MC'd, but I'm being asked to do this. So when you're early, it gives you an opportunity to check out the room, get a feel of the room, and internalize what it is, how that place or the conversation that is going to happen there.
All right. So then, anyway, sorry, I have a couple of questions. I hope whoever is waiting,
it's okay,
can take time. Yeah. So then, okay, you mentioned about something about the outlook. So where does it count? The outlook.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you have a clean whatever, as in I need to know like where does that count? And you also mentioned about the skill. So let's say I'm very well versed on my skill, but as per my outlook, it doesn't count when it comes to what happens.
good. You need also to have what Carol said, emotional intelligence, to understand, number one, what kind of emotions might be coming out of the room by virtue of your dressing. So you need to understand, where have I been called? If it's a meeting like this, you dress casually neat, right? So you need to understand, where am I going? Which kind of meeting am I going to meet? Who am I? Like for example, if the president calls you for a meeting at State House, you already know the kind of meeting you're going. So the first point of reference in how you need to look at your dress code is, which kind of event am I attending? That's number one. If it's an office setup, there are people who are working with a bank. A bank will demand you to have a tie and a suit on a particular days. There are days you're supposed to be coming in casual. So it also depends on the occasions that you're supposed to be going. But again, even if it's casual, be casually smart. Look good. Don't just go and you're not looking neat. So understand the event, understand the what I may call the audience where you're going to pitch. I will give an example. Last year when I was talking at Geneva at the United Nations Development Program event, I had to look at the kind of guys who were there. I'd look at the way they are dressing. I I did not intend to go and put a tie because I had said I have not put a tie for many days. When I looked at everyone else in that event, everybody had a tie. So he said, oh, Charles, you cannot go in an event like this and don't look like the rest of the guys. So for that event, I put on a tie. After I'm done with the tie, with the speaking engagement, I remove my tie and I become the normal Charles. So it depends on the event, and that informs you on how you need to dress for the event.
Okay, I want to ask a very diabolical question though.
Yeah.
Like we have some serious age difference, yeah. So for you, you ought to wear a tie. for sure. Like I don't have to, but because the people maybe I'll work with when you leave that space, there are these guys on this other side.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of trying to allure to these guys more than I am to, yeah. But also I need to respect you enough that I'm working with you now.
Right.
So how can I do a blend to respect, to allure them,
Good.
and actually respect you at the same time?
Good. This is how you do it. Look at number one in the industry. What industry do you work in?
I'm in tech.
You're in tech.
Yes.
If you're in tech, we understand when you're in tech how you need to be interacting with people within the ecosystem, right? You are there, you're coding. Sometimes I've seen some guys code, they are like this, they're scratching themselves, they don't know exactly what to do. So we understand that. It's a
normal day. It's a normal day experience.
Exactly. But look, if you're doing that when you are among yourself, then that's allowed, right?
All right. Mm-hmm.
But when someone invites you outside that environment, you need to study what kind of an invitation do I have. And then that kind of an invitation now informs you how you need now to dress. Because that is outside your normal area of staying, your normal area of being, or your normal area of operation. So if someone outside that normal operation where you do your things is calling you for a meeting, then again, you weigh what kind of a meeting is this. So the thing is this industry, the kind of event you're being invited, and then also number 4, what kind of a meeting am I being called to?
How do you meet in the middle?
You look, for example.
No, I'm asking.
It's
really relevant.
I'll give an example.
Yeah.
The way I'm looking today, I can go to White House, I can go State House, right? And there will be respect.
Okay.
You don't have to have a tie, but you can have a good shirt, you can have a good trouser, a nice jacket. That makes you presentable. Put on nice shoes, look good, look the event, look respectable.
So how do you look the event?
Just let me just say this. There's a statement that says, dress how you want to be addressed.
All right, okay.
So if you have that clear with you, how do you want to be addressed when you go to different places? And I think there's a difference between your normal workspace and when you have to go to a certain event. There's a gentleman, I forget his name, and maybe someone you need to follow on LinkedIn, I forget his name. He was to pitch to an investor in a different country. He doesn't like wearing ties and everything, so he went in his casual smart. He was there an hour early, so he had to wait. And while he was waiting, of course, you're scouting. Okay, how does this place look like? When he was kept waiting for some time, so when he got to meet the investor, they did sign the deal. But one thing the investor told him, if you ever come to my office again without a suit, I will not take it lightly. It's a culture. So again, understand the culture of where it is that you're going. When I was going to Morocco, one of the dress codes was an all-white event. And some of these things you have to invest in them. So there's a nice outfit I saw, but it was exposing half of my upper part.
Yeah.
And it was an evening event. Now this is an Arabic country. I can't go.
Yeah, you should. Yeah.
Exposing my much as the outfit is beautiful, I had to quickly change how that outfit looks like. So take time to just, like you said, respect. It doesn't always have to be about you. And then some of these things are just for a short period.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I understand what you're saying. So it's the take home is like understand the place you're going.
Yeah.
And I think like I need to give them mic. But so the take home is, as much as we are in different places, different spaces, it's more like understand the place where you're going. So regardless of what you believe in, what they believe in, have actually you yourself find the middle ground for everything. Actually, thank you for that.
Yeah, you got it.
You're most welcome. Fantastic. All right. Now the questions are. All right. Okay. Yes, Kinot.
Young man, excuse me, what was your name? Bran. Let me teach you something. When we were young, we would look up to our parents. Okay? They were not perfect. They will never be perfect. All right? When we became older, we learned how to behave in a certain direction because we were taught, soma, upate kazi, ujifunze. All right? So we moved from that generation where now we have to think, because now we were never taught to be businessmen. We became businessmen. So we had to learn ourselves. All right? Now, whenever you're going to any meeting, know who is your audience. Do your research. Get to know who is your audience, who is going to be on the table. Because remember what Charles said, the moment you walk in, I have made a conclusion whether I will work with you or not. Now the question is, do you want to close a $20 million deal in a suit or in casual?
All right. We do have a tea break. We do have a tea break. Brian, if you allow me, we'll take one from the gentleman and then.
Hello, hi everyone.
Hi.
So my name is Peterson Karaoke, and I had a question. So I have a friend who's trying to build a business, but he's very conflict averse. So he's more new age, so he believes in positivity, law of attraction. So he doesn't like negativity. That is what I'll say. Like anything negative, he's like, you understand? And this time, he's trying to build a business and he's working with people. And we talked about making big decisions in boardrooms. And so he's this person who needs to make those big decisions. But the people that he's working with, say probably they have a report they have to submit, let's say in like 2 days. The people take about like a week to complete the report. Some of them don't even like do the report at all. They like, si mwingine alifanya. So I was talking to him and he was telling me like he doesn't like to put himself in places whereby he doesn't just like conflict or negativity with people. That is just how he is. Positive affirmations, that kind of person. And so now here he is. He has to make these big decisions, right? So how and he's probably leading a team. How does he approach this? How does he make better decisions when it comes to that? Because now probably these people are not going to support him and his goal. And you said that you worked at Kenya at the Pride of Africa and you were managing a team of a very huge team. So what did you do to counter those challenges when it came to managing people in that sort of sense? Yeah, thank you.
All right.
John, thank you. Well, new age people, it's just like having someone we are different, live all together. So one thing we have to recognize, in any environment there will be a diverse culture of people coming from different backgrounds. So the sooner you learn and understand them and see how best to embrace them. Now that calls for wisdom. And some of these things cannot be taught.
Yeah.
So how do you ensure, like for example, if he's a person who doesn't like negativity and everything, then that means he cannot be the one to make the decisions. He has to get someone who will be able to make the decisions, because some of the decisions that he may have to make might be in an environment where there's a lot of negativity. So he has to leverage on the people he can work with who will make certain decisions. For example, when he was presenting, someone talked about financial sensitivity or something,
Yeah.
I quickly also just took note and said, it's a person that I can reach out to if I need to make decisions concerning money. So it's the same thing with him. And self-awareness is important. And I'm glad that he's aware. So once he's aware of such, it's a trait? Or what do we call
Yeah,
it?
it's a trait.
Yeah, once he's aware of such a trait, he has to identify who are the people who can make certain decisions where he is not able to make that kind of decision. But it can also work against him in terms of growth, in terms of spaces where he needs to be. Because if you go to the boardroom, there are some decisions you have to make them quickly. There's no time for consulting. So you might lose out on some opportunities because of that.
All right.
I can add that sometimes for leadership, right, it calls for you to make hard decisions.
Yes, correct.
Like your friend can't say that I want to run a business and a team, and I never want to have difficult conversations.
Yeah.
Like what the speaker said earlier on, it's very important to constantly upskill. And soft skills there's also spaces that soft skills are taught. Ways to have difficult conversations, ways to express emotional intelligence while having the difficult conversations, so that it's not harmful to the other person and you still get to maintain the relationship.
Yeah, correct.
All right. Thank you so much. We will take him and then we come to Wesley and then we finish with the gentleman.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, my name is Moses Kamau, a graduate project manager, in construction that is, and I'm working as a architect assistant. And there is this project we are working on. It's a 15-bedroom mansion, and I happened to be the one who was supposed to be presenting the design to the client, and the whole part of the other consultants that is, and in the boardroom, I'm there.
Good. Clap for him.
5-foot tall man standing in front of other consultant in the industry, and this guy, he's a big guy in the country that is, and I'm supposed to present. The presentation, I've done it very, very well. In fact, it's the one that's it's like it was speaking instead of me speaking to them. Because at first when I stood there, what do you call it? Is it a stage fright or is it something else?
Yeah.
I could feel my armpit. Yeah, that's, you can imagine the situation by then. And after time, maybe 3 to 4 minutes, I was able to take them through my presentation, and it happened to pass. So how do I deal with that stage fright? Even now, I can tell you can even tell that
Yeah.
I'm a bit uncomfortable. So how do I deal with that? Please help.
Wow, excellent. Let's clap for Moses. Moses, even the strongest of us always feel like that. It comes with time, and I will tell you the truth. Even when you're called to go and speak, even today, I was speaking somewhere one Sunday, last Sunday, and even when you've done a lot of speaking, you've gone everywhere, you will never have that confidence that there's nothing that you will not feel. You'll always feel like, I've been called to the big stage. Because again, it's a place of responsibility, and you want to deliver the best. The only thing that you need to do is, number one, be confident, right? Have confidence. Number two, know your stuff. I like what you said, you are well prepared. When you're well prepared, even if you have that cold sweat coming down from your armpits, you are okay, because you know your stuff. Number one, you're prepared. And that's why the gentleman there, Brian, he said, what happens if I go there 1 hour before? You begin to prepare, right? And that's the importance of being somewhere early enough. Brian, when you find yourself you have 1 hour in a meeting where you're supposed to be presenting, you use that 1 hour to recap your notes, take your notes, revise, look at them, then form opinions or form a picture in your head. How do I start? The starting and the opening statement is very important in any meeting. How do you start? Rehearse your first and the second statements. How are you going to open that statement? And that's why you hear people when they go to do a presentation. Some of them have a quote. I'll quote one guy in this room who likes quotes as an opening statement. I don't mention names, they like quotes. Right? I don't want to mention names. But it's a way of killing that fear. It's a way of making sure that it's an icebreaker. You want to make sure you're comfortable, because the first statement kind of creates or kills every other fear, and now it gives you a room for you to start flying. It's like that first guy you engage when you want to take off. So now you start very well. Rehearse on your first statements. Look at the crowd confidently. It's you who don't know what you don't know. We don't know what you don't know. It's you who know what you don't know. We don't even know what you don't know. So we'll actually believe you for to tell us you have. So what you present to us, we believe you for it. So sometimes in these meetings, we think that other people are watching us or listening to us. They know what we actually are supposed to be knowing, but they don't even know. So you fear what people don't even know, and you actually fear what you actually don't know. So the thing is, be confident, have that confidence. Yes, I am the best in this room. You might be better than me, but as for this moment, I have taken the seat, you're going to listen to me, right? It's the opportunity to shine. So shine as much as you can by presenting the best you have. And the thing is this, be prepared. Know your stuff. And that will go a long way on how you present the meeting.
And just add, that you were given that opportunity to present, that tells you also there's something somebody has given you that probably you had not identified. So just be preparing yourself to present. And I think presentation skills are not taught, but it's something everyone needs
to learn.
I must say, I started this journey of speaking in church. Before I was a Catholic, I came to I did not calculate look for a person to the first 50 seconds. So my hand was always up. So any opportunity to present, please go for it. Go for it.
Exactly. And don't even wait for that platform to go and present. Present for yourself in the house. Speak. Go and stand before the mirror and talk. Say, this is what I'm gonna do. Right? Look at yourself and begin to speak. Rehearse your speech in front of yourself. Listen to yourself as you speak. Sometimes I record myself.
I do that a lot. Every Sunday.
Yeah.
Follow my WhatsApp status. I record it myself. People think it's a message, but for me it's a strategy to build my confidence.
Exactly. And sometimes you need that feedback, as Carol is saying. And that feedback on yourself is important because you know where you make mistakes as you speak. And you have a corrective measure once you know how my speaking engagement is not good. Like, for example, on Sunday I spoke somewhere and I thought, Charles, I was not good enough. So I was telling somebody I did not do a good job. Then they're like, you did a good job. But you see, I know my measuring stick. I understand what I need to improve on. So once you know yourself, once you know exactly how you need to be and where you need to go, then gauge yourself and keep on improving yourself. Get feedback from the people, but gauge yourself. Yeah.
All right, we have about 9 minutes to bring this to a close in the interest of time. Kiroti, we have tea. I'm just.
There's nothing as important as self-affirmation. Nothing. You can't affirm yourself. You expect somebody else to affirm you first. You miss the ground. So first and foremost, affirm yourself. I am ready. Even this audience, they don't know anything. Right?
thank you so much, Kinoti. We have one more and then we are done. Yes, we'll finish. That's what
Hi guys.
Yes, Wesley.
My name is Wesley Nzenga. So we were speaking about tables, and there are many tables. And as young founders trying to grow companies from the ground up, so we can say, like, personally, I'm at that table where you're doing most of the things yourself. But the dream is to grow your business to a point where the table is now a board level table, right? So my question maybe would have led to you guys telling me a story about how maybe this transition was for Sir Charles, maybe, and what are some blind spots you experience, maybe, which you can give as advice to avoid or learn from, and how did you manage to align yourself to make sure that the experience you have, the zeal you have, and the confidence you have doesn't get swallowed up by the pressure of being in a boardroom? Yeah.
As Sir Charles is right here, I'd highly recommend, if you're in a business and maybe the business is still too young to have a board, members, have an advisory board. And an advisory board is a group of people with different skills who are able to speak into your business, and you don't have to pay them. You're able to speak and advise with an advisory board. And with that kind of a structure, it's a foundation to have now other structures that are needed and eventually have a board.
Yeah, that's good, Carol. I think I like and appreciate that. That's quite good. Wesley, I like your vision, and I've seen it. And Wesley, I have something to talk to you about when we begin to talk. I was in China, and for those who don't know, that Wesley is doing. They have a technology of transforming the pollutants in emissions to non-pollutant emissions. So they are turning the bad carbon dioxide into clean gas, and that there's no pollution, and they are doing a very good business. They're working on something very good, and I know that's a very competitive area, and I understand what you say. And the question around how do you transition is one that is very diverse, because you transition, different people transition differently. For my case, I was sacked while I was working, right? I went back home, I came back from honeymoon, and when I went back to the office, I was told, boss, we are giving you one more week. And I said, wow, what a good boss. What I didn't know was my letter was being written, right? My dismissal letter was being written. And I go back there after a week, and I was told, Charles, we are sorry, we cannot have you any longer in this office, and there was no emotion on the table. And I felt so crushed. Honestly, I'm just coming back from honeymoon. How will you take me out of job? But the thing is this. The point of transition is determined by how much you put on that transition moment vis-a-vis how you view your future. If you start crying and you're not making any steps towards your future, you will linger there for a longer time. You will stay there and you will not make any decisions. For me, I woke up and I said, look, I need to move. Life has to move. This life is competitive, I have to move. So I found myself in a team of my friends. I called a friend of mine, I said, you know what? Look, I've just been told there's no job. What do I need to do? He said, no, that's a simple thing, Charles, come. Let's see what we can do, right? And it's good to have guys who are positive around you, because they help you move quickly. Sometimes the guys who we have around us is our friends. Instead of Ted helping us move quickly, Ted, they want us to go there and cry the more. You want to have guys around you who, yes, they see where you are, but they want to see the best out of you. They want to see a transition, move quickly. Lia, lakini jipanguze na tuendelee na kazi, si ndio? Hii dunia itaki mtu analia sana. Jipanguze haraka, alafu tuendelee na nini? Endelee na kazi, because vitu zinatufanya nini tusubiri. So my transition story is a long one, but again, the thing is this. Sometimes God will throw you to where you ought to be by virtue of throwing you from your comfort zone. To me, I will never be doing energy if I will never lost my job, because I was doing finance and accounting, and And then I got to a friend of mine, I tells me, Charles, no, come, let's do something new. And I said, fine, let me learn. So be willing to learn. Transitions are all about learning something new. And that's why I like what Carol said, acquire skills that will benefit you tomorrow. Do not stick on one line in life. Learn several things. And those several things will maybe make a path for you on how you transition in the other world. That's one thing I will say. And again, Wesley, how do I align myself? Through learning. I got myself in energy sector, which I didn't even know anything about. But I began to learn. I began to do research. I began to understand how things are done in this new sphere of world. How do you do? Last week, I was in China. The week before I was in China. And one of the most intriguing things I've always wanted to do, and my family has been very passionate about, is to do what you call offshore wind farms. Setting up a wind farm within the sea. And I went to this place where they have done 2,000 megawatts of wind project within the sea, turbines within the sea, and I could see massive of them within the sea. And I said, look, this is something I've always wanted to do. So what do I need to do? I need to learn. So we can ask those guys questions. How do you ensure these turbines are floating in the sea? They told me something that I don't know whether you are engineers in this room, but one of the things they shocked me about is they have done what you call suspended substations in the sea. Suspended substations. And you know, water and electricity don't come together. But these guys are doing substations in the sea. Honestly speaking, the thing is this, for your transition to be effective, you must open your mind to learn something new. Let's learn. I'm not an engineer, but I get somewhere and I went to see something called a battery storage farm, because again, we are doing our expansion program and it demands for us to understand about battery storage. When I go there, I found the engineers there. These are Chinese engineers. I questioned the Chinese engineers. They ran to go and start searching for some information. And I'm not an engineer, but the thing is this, I understand what I'm doing. So know the stuff of what you are doing. Because if you need to transition, Wesley, and I will show you some things I saw in China about what you're doing. The thing is this, you must be the best in what you're doing so that your transition process can become easy. And people hire you because you've acquired experience just by virtue of learning. Research. Nowadays, we have a lot of information on the internet, right? And you can get as much as you can. And some of that things is free. So your transition will become smooth depending on how much information you acquire in different sectors, and opportunities come for them prepared. Once you're prepared, it is easy to transition.
All right.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Kavulu. I just want to add on to what Wesley has said. Not to take away from what Sir Charles has said about learning, but I'm a jeweler, and when I got into this business, I learned everything that I could. I got mentors, I got the Wahindis who've been doing this since time immemorial. But this is what I have to tell you. When God gives you a vision, He gives you provision. You have what it takes to do what you need to do. Sometimes you just have to go with your gut. I learned everything I needed to learn. I was going the wrong direction. I had to trust in myself, and now I'm in the right direction. Okay? So don't cut yourself short that you need guidance all the time. You have it in you. If you have the vision, you have the provision.
Right. Beautifully put. And last but not least.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Hi.
My name is Ian. I'm a B2B sales enabler. So just to ask what my friend there asked about when to know when the business needs maybe a board. And Carol, you said first maybe if it's a startup, you can start maybe with advisory board. So for the post-revenue companies, at what point, because there are some that maybe the owners have been running and they are still very profitable even without the board, at what point do you now start constituting the board, given that especially for future growth, maybe if you aren't even funding the investors, maybe they would want to see that you're not the only decision-making person. And also another thing about the board, how do you handle conflict in the point, especially instances where you can't agree, because I know that that happens a lot. Your thinking is different from someone else, and you need to arrive at a decision, because conflict can also break the company. So how do you navigate around that? And in the instances where maybe you also have two instances where you are all the same. Yeah, there's no equity partner, because also equity partner can bully you. So, and also another that kind of instance where there's an investor on the board. Thank you.
I think it's a question you should answer.
Yeah, I will come in.
I'll say that first, for the advisory board, if it's a young company, advisory, the people who you choose to be your advisory board members are people with different skills. So they're bringing different skills to the table to speak into your business. Again, values. It has to be people whose values and your values match. Conflicts will arise, whether it's in an advisory board or board of directors meeting or whatever it is. But you need to invest in because there are both rules and regulations. Even in an advisory board, there are rules and regulations that will help govern the board of the town. That's what I can say about it. And when it comes to people,
Yeah, thanks, Carol. And I think Carol's hands on because again, boards are made for governance. Corporate governance role is key things when it comes to boards. Because again, if you look at the end terms, some of the years were really on mistakes to really this company. So corporate governance has to be board, right? And for what Carol has just mentioned, it's good to understand at what stage, if it's a startup, at what stage do you transition yourself to have a rich corporate governance board? Addressing board is important, but again, at the second stage of a business, you realize that apart from having an advisory board, you have full board in business. And it's at that stage where you get a topic to space, people who can speak to you. At times the problem we have is we don't want people to speak to us. We don't want people to come and look like they're giving us direction. But you grow in your business depending on the people you surround yourself. Tap the right brains in your pocket or your industry. Get diverse brains. Get a guy who you know is so. Don't just bring guys in your board who you know they're not so. So do a bit of due diligence on them, understand who they are, understand where they're coming from, and especially if that board person is not a board member by virtue of ownership of equity. Because again, it could be a board by virtue of ownership of equity. Like for example, Victor and Alcam within the same company, then we all own shares and then we form a board. Then it could be board members by virtue of owning shares. But again, there's an executive board that for a board, you need to know what is the position of the board that you need. Therefore, you choose the right position. So then you are potential. And a chairman is supposed to be a man with experience. A man or a lady who is well versed with the knowledge. This is a beginning. So that at least when there is a voting at the time, there is no bias in experience. We've had many places where people are differing and they can't make a decision. Some of those issues because of lack of what we call good government leadership. Where there is good leadership, in those boards, there will always be a casting report, and most of the time, the chairman takes the casting report. What does a casting report mean? If we are making decisions and they say, look, this they seem to be a time risk. The chairman always takes us as if that can take my vote will be a casting report. Meaning, well, we are all casting our vote, then the chairman comes and says, my vote is on this side. And then we are all agreed as a board that wherever the chairman votes, that wins. So that's part of the governance of the board. So we don't put ourselves in the board. Because I think their dogs are not thankful because you want to govern a business with the board. And also, there needs to be a very good shareholder agreement or what they call a governance model within the shareholders shareholder agreement that we decide. So that it is very clearly defined how do you have those boards and what you call voting rights. Because there are boards where you have one has a 2 vote, another person will be having 1 vote, another one will be having 3 votes. So how does that voting right get done? And what documents have you signed that highlight all that governance? Those things will be looked into, and then when that instruments are there, it makes it very easy to work and vote institution.
Fantastic. Allow us kindly to really end at that point. Miriam will tell us tea is getting cold, and some people are going very far. Cindy, are we content? We have tea, Shadrach. We can continue the conversations during tea. But for this time, allow me, let's give a big round of applause to my panelists this evening. Have we learned something? Have we gotten wisdom that we will actually use? Fantastic. I'll allow them to take their seat, and a big round of applause to them as they take their seat. Thank you so much.